The path grew colder as they climbed. What little light filtered through the ashwood canopy seemed to twist the further they went, turning from soft gold to pale green, then to violet mist that shimmered with hidden shapes. Birds stopped singing. Even the insects fell silent. Akihime said nothing. She walked with her fingers grazing the air as though reading invisible threads between the trees. Raikou watched her closely. Since awakening the ash fire, something had changed in her. She still looked like a child, but her presence had deepened, like a well without a bottom. They reached a rise in the earth where no trees grew. In the center stood a stone arch half swallowed by ivy, covered in burned Kanjian dragon glyphs, blackened but not broken. "This is it," Raikou said. "The Temple of Flame Echoes?" Akihime asked. He nodded. "One of the last places not destroyed in the War of Cinders. It was hidden with blood magic. Only someone marked by the dragonfire can open it now." He stepped toward the stone. The glyphs did not react to him, but when Akihime approached, they flared to life. Symbols glowed blue, then gold, then white-hot. The stone rumbled. Ash drifted upward in spiraling patterns. The ground beneath them trembled, not in violence, but as though the earth itself were remembering. The doorway opened. Not with noise, but with silence. A vacuum of sound. Raiku's eyes narrowed. "Stay close." Inside, the air was ancient. Not stale, but timeless. As if the wind had not touched this place in 1,000 years. The walls were carved with dragons, dozens of them, spiraling through storms, sleeping beneath mountains and breathing fire across maps that no longer existed. Above the altar at the center was an inscription in flame-carved stone. "The last fire burns not in the heavens, but in the heart of she who walks both ash and blood." Akihime walked to the altar and placed her hand on it. The stone pulsed. Raikou flinched, hand on his blade, but no danger came. Instead, a low hum filled the temple, a vibration, resonant, ancient. Suddenly the walls came to life, not moving, but projecting. Light danced from the glyphs. Scenes unfolded in mid-air as if drawn from fire and memory. Raikou turned slowly. They saw a vision, a battle, a dragon cloaked in ash, fighting a legion of armored warriors, men wielding weapons of fire and soul. Above them, a figure stood on a cliff, hair white as snow, arms raised in command. Akihime gasped. "That's me." Raikou narrowed his eyes. The figure had her face, older, crowned in fire, but her expression was not kind. It was terrible, fierce, divine, and full of wrath. In the vision, she unleashed a scream that cracked the sky. The earth split, mountains fell. Raiku's heart pounded. He turned to the altar. "This is a memory." Akihime trembled. "But I don't remember it." "You're not supposed to. Not yet." She pulled her hand away and the vision vanished. In the silence that followed, a voice spoke from the dark. Low, echoing, non-human. "You returned too soon, Flameborn." Raikou spun, blade drawn. From the shadows behind the altar, a creature emerged, not fully beast, not fully man. Its skin shimmered like obsidian and embers. Its head was crowned with 2 spiraling horns, and its eyes were twin lanterns, blazing gold. Akihime stepped behind Raikou. "What is it?" The creature bowed its head slowly. "I am the Echo. I am what remains when the last dragon dies." Raikou didn't lower his sword. "I remember your face," the Echo said, staring at Akihime. "I remember your rage and your mercy." "I don't," Akihime whispered. "You will." Raikou stepped forward. "Why are you still here? This temple should be ruins." "I was left to wait," the Echo said, "to guard the truth until she returned." Akihime stepped forward, trembling. "Tell me then, who was I?" The Echo did not smile, it did not breathe, but its voice softened like a wind through dying leaves. "You were the daughter of fire and sorrow, the one who ended the first war, the one who chose to be born again in blood, to walk among mortals, to forget and remember only when the world began to burn once more." Raikou lowered his sword just slightly. "What does she carry?" he asked. The Echo turned to him. "She carries the last spark, the final ash fire. It can awaken the dragons or end them forever." Akihime stepped backward. "I don't want that." "You don't have a choice," the Echo replied. "The choice was made long before your birth, but how you use what is inside you, that choice is still yours." The temple trembled again. The glyphs dimmed. The Echo began to fade. "Wait," Raikou started. "You must reach the mountain," the Echo said. "The fire sleeps there, but so does the enemy." And with that, it vanished. Outside, thunder cracked though no clouds hung in the sky. Akihime sat on the temple steps, the vision still burning behind her eyes. "I didn't want any of this," she whispered. Raikou sat beside her. "None of us did, but the fire chose you, and now we have to survive long enough to understand why." She turned to him. "Will you protect me?" He looked into her golden eyes. "No," he said softly. "I'll train you. So one day, you won't need me to." The morning came slowly in the ashwood. A pale fog clung to the forest floor like a blanket of breath from sleeping gods. Sunlight tried to pierce through, but the branches overhead swayed in refusal. This was not a place for light. Akihime stood barefoot in the dew-drenched grass, arms crossed in front of her chest. Her hair was tied back, her feet muddy from the walk. She wore a loose wrap that Raikou had cut from his own cloak. Across from her stood the ninja, sword on his back, face unreadable beneath the dark cloth of his mask. "Again," he said. She raised her hands, trying to mimic his stance, palms slightly forward, fingers loose, knees bent. She failed. Raikou stepped in silently, gently moving her arms with 2 fingers. "Too stiff. If your body is a wall, the wind will break it. You must be a flame instead, shifting, unpredictable, alive." Akihime nodded. "And stop holding your breath," he added. "Only corpses forget to breathe." She exhaled quickly, embarrassed. Then she tried again. Raikou watched her, silently, methodically. He corrected nothing this time. Her movements were still unrefined, but she was learning fast. Not like a warrior. Like something older was remembering through her. She wasn't fighting like a child. She was remembering a dance. They trained for hours. Raikou showed her how to move in silence, how to use breath as rhythm, how to step across roots and leaves without disturbing the ground. At first, she stumbled, but by dusk, she was already beginning to disappear between shadows. She didn't need to be taught twice. That, more than anything, unnerved him. They sat together by the edge of a stream near the temple ruins, washing their hands in the cold water. Akihime broke the silence. "What was your clan called?" Raikou didn't answer at first. Then he whispered, "Obsidian Flame." "Were you their leader?" "I was their last." She looked at him. "Did they all die?" Raikou's hands clenched slightly in the water. "Not all." He didn't explain further. Instead, he picked up a small stone and carved a circle in the dirt with his knife. Then he made 2 lines crossing it, forming a flame with 6 points. "This was our mark," he said, "the flame inside the blade." Akihime traced it with her finger. "I want to make one," she said. "You already have one," Raikou said. "It's just still waking." That night, as Akihime slept, curled beside the fire, Raikou stood watch atop a jagged stone overlooking the basin below. He watched the treetops, eyes narrowing. Something was coming. Not now, but soon. He could feel it, like pressure in the bones. He was running out of time to train her, and she was running out of time to be just a child. Far beyond the ashwood, past the scorched lands of the southern wastes, stood a black fortress built from bone and basalt. Inside, torches burned with blue flame, fueled by the breath of dying spirits. There, General Hoshinaga stood before an altar where a blade hovered, a sword without hilt or sheath, forged in a forgotten era. Beside him knelt a robed figure, genderless, masked, covered in scrolls and cords etched with curses. "You summoned the Ash Echo too soon," the figure said. Hoshinaga didn't respond. "The girl survived," the voice continued. "That means the fire has chosen. You know what that means." "I know," Hoshinaga replied. "It means she's more than the last heir." He reached for the floating sword. "She's the next emperor." The sword pulsed, faintly, almost afraid. "And if the world accepts her?" the masked figure asked. Hoshinaga's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then we burn the world." Back in the forest, Akihime stirred in her sleep. She opened her eyes, sat up. The fire was still burning. Raikou was still gone, watching the ridge, but something was moving in the darkness across the stream. Not footsteps, whispers. She stood, drawn by instinct, moving past the trees to the river's edge. There, floating on the water, was a single glowing scale, white and gold, shaped like a teardrop. She touched it, and the world went silent. Suddenly, she stood in a field of ash, grey plains stretching forever. Above her, the sky swirled with fire. Before her, a shape loomed, a dragon's eye the size of a tower, watching her from behind the veil of time. "You walk the flame road," a voice thundered, "but your feet still tremble." "I'm not ready," she whispered. "No one is," the dragon said, "but fire does not wait." She awoke with a gasp. Raikou was already kneeling beside her. "You left the fire," he said sharply. Akihime pointed toward the stream. "I saw it again. The eye. The ash field." Raikou nodded, eyes narrowing. "The vision will return more often now. It's trying to tell you something." "What?" "That the past is waking, and it's coming for you." The scent of smoke reached them at midday. Not the faint burn of distant embers, but thick, choking smoke rising in plumes from beyond the ashwood's eastern edge. Raikou froze, his senses sharpened. Smoke meant fire. Fire meant war. He climbed quickly to a high ridge, crouching low beneath a twisted pine. His eyes narrowed as they scanned the valley below. A village was burning. Wooden rooftops collapsed under orange flame. Figures fled into the hills, some on foot, some on horseback, but most fell. Cut down by soldiers in crimson armor, their banners marked by the seal of the Veil. Raikou clenched his jaw. His hand twitched near his sword. Akihime stepped beside him, her face pale. "Why are they burning it?" she asked. Raikou didn't answer at first. Then, because they know we're near and they want us to come out. She looked at him, eyes wide. "You mean they're doing this because of me?" Raikou nodded grimly. "Hoshinaga doesn't waste men or fire. He knows mercy is a blade duller than fear." Akihime's fists clenched. "We can't just watch." Raikou's gaze didn't leave the smoke. "No," he said, "we can't." By nightfall, the village, Rivertown, was little more than blackened ruins. Raikou and Akihime moved through the outskirts, silent as phantoms. The soldiers had moved on, leaving only the dead and the dying behind. A man lay near a broken shrine, clutching a bloodied staff. His breath was shallow, his eyes glazed. Raikou knelt beside him. "Who did this?" Raikou asked. The man coughed, blood staining his lips. "The Red Ones, they came for her, said a girl would pass here, said we had to give her up or burn." Raikou's eyes darkened. "You didn't know her?" "We didn't need to," the man whispered. "We refused." His breath left him. Akihime stood nearby, her eyes full of something Raikou hadn't seen before. Guilt. They buried the bodies in silence, marking the graves with stones. The river ran black with ash, and the night air was still thick with the heat of dying fires. Akihime sat by the riverbank, staring at her reflection. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "No one ever does," Raikou said, sitting beside her. "If I weren't here, they'd still be alive." Raikou looked at the water. "That's not true." "But they burned the village looking for me. They burned the village because they fear what you might become." She turned to him, eyes shining. "And what is that?" Raikou didn't answer, because he didn't know. Later, they found shelter in the ruins of an old watchtower overlooking the valley. Raikou stood on the battlements, scanning the horizon. The crimson veil would return, he could feel it. They were drawing a noose around them. And Raikou knew that running would only delay the inevitable. He would have to fight. But first, he had to prepare her for what was coming. The next morning, Raikou stood in the clearing, 2 wooden staffs in his hands. He tossed one to Akihime. "No more games," he said. "If we're going to survive, you need to learn more than just how to hide." Akihime caught the staff, steadying herself. "I'm ready." Raikou circled her slowly. The way of ash is not about strength. It's about knowing when to burn and when to wait. He struck, a swift jab toward her shoulder. She blocked, barely. Again. Another strike, faster. She parried but stumbled. "You're hesitating." "I'm not." "You're afraid." She gritted her teeth. "I'm angry." Raikou stopped. "Good," he said, "but don't let it control you. Anger is a spark. You decide when it becomes fire." Hours passed. Her strikes grew faster, her footwork sharper, but Raikou saw more than just progress. He saw something awakening, not just skill, power. Far to the north, in the shattered hall of an old temple, Lady Tsuru stood before a mirror of black glass, her eyes closed. She felt the disturbance in the wind. She felt Raikou, alive, and the girl, the flame child, growing stronger. Her hand tightened around the hilt of her curved blade. "I'm coming for you," she whispered. "Both of you."